Okay, so get ready because today we are going to decode all those mysterious cat behaviors. You know, the quirky ones that we all know and love.
Right.
We're diving deep into the world of feline behavior.
Sounds good.
And just the other day, actually, my cat, she decided to leave me a little present
Uh-oh.
right next to her perfectly clean litter box.
Oh, no.
I mean, it drove me nuts, and it just made me realize I don't really understand what's really going on with these so-called litter box surprises.
Yeah.
So hopefully this deep dive will help us both out.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got a whole stack of research here to help us understand and hopefully manage some of those common cat conundrums.
Yep.
Things like inappropriate elimination, aggression, excessive grooming, and even anxiety in our feline friends.
You know, it's interesting. Cats have this reputation for being so independent, almost aloof.
Right.
But the research really shows how sensitive they actually are to their environment. They might not always show it, but all those little changes we make can actually cause big behavioral shifts in our cats.
Okay, so let's start with those litter box surprises then, since that's fresh in my mind.
Okay.
I have to admit, my first instinct is always to think, oh, she's mad at me for something.
Right.
But the research says it might not be so straightforward, right?
Exactly. The research that we have, it really emphasizes that inappropriate elimination, which is the fancy term for, those out-of-the-box moments, they can be caused by medical issues just as often as behavioral ones.
Okay.
So we're talking about things like urinary tract infections, even kidney issues.
So you're right. I always just assume it's behavioral, but it makes total sense to rule out the medical causes first.
Right.
Any tips on how we can tell if it's more than just a protest poop?
Well, you want to look for any changes in their bathroom habits, right?
Okay.
So is your cat straining to pee? Are they going more or less frequently than usual? Is there any blood in their urine? Those are all red flags that warrant a trip to the vet.
Okay. That makes sense. So let's say the vet gives us the all clear and it really is behavioral. What then? The source mentions creating a calm environment.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you even create a Zen retreat for a cat in a busy household?
It's not about turning your home into a silent meditation studio.
Right.
Cats actually thrive on predictability.
Okay.
Having a consistent routine, sticking to a regular feeding schedule, even predictable playtime. All of that can go a long way in reducing their stress levels.
Oh, so I should be aiming for boring instead of blissful.
Well, boring for them, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But think about it. A consistent routine means that they know what to expect and when to expect it.
Yeah.
And that can really help ease their anxiety.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. The source also mentioned minimizing any changes in their environment, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if I suddenly decide to rearrange all the furniture in my house? Could that really send my cat into a tailspin?
It could definitely be a source of stress. I mean, think about it from their perspective. Their territory, their safe space, has suddenly been altered without their consent.
Oh, okay.
So, introducing any changes gradually, like moving furniture bit by bit rather than all at once, can help them adjust much better.
Okay, I am definitely guilty of the spontaneous furniture rearrangement.
Uh-oh.
Now I'm rethinking everything.
And, of course, we can't forget about the litter box itself.
Right. I mean, I keep it clean, but is there more to it? Is there more to it than that?
Absolutely. Location is key. Cats prefer quiet, private spots for their bathroom business.
Okay.
So try to avoid placing the litter box in high-traffic areas or near noisy appliances.
Okay, that makes sense. I have mine tucked away in a corner of the laundry room,
Okay.
which I thought was perfect, but the dryer is right next to it. Maybe that's part of the problem.
It's definitely worth considering. You also want to make sure that the litter box is easily accessible. Some cats, especially older cats, might have trouble getting in and out if the sides are too high.
Oh, good point. I hadn't even thought about that. What about the litter itself? Are there any preferences there?
Some cats can be pretty picky about their litter.
Really?
The source that we have suggests offering a few different types to see what your cat prefers.
Okay.
Fine-grained, clumping, unscented, all that jazz.
So it's a litter box buffet for the discerning feline.
Exactly. And one more thing about litter boxes, the number.
Okay.
You should actually have one more litter box than you have cats.
Yeah.
So if you have 2 cats, ideally you should have 3 litter boxes.
Whoa, 3 litter boxes?
It might seem excessive, but it can really help prevent those, surprises,
Okay.
especially if your cats are prone to territoriality. Giving them plenty of options can reduce competition and stress.
All right, I'm making a mental note to add another litter box to my shopping list.
Okay.
Now on to another behavioral head scratcher, aggression. Honestly, sometimes my cat's mood swings, it can feel like a roller coaster.
It's true. Cat aggression can be really puzzling. But one of the most fascinating insights from this research is the concept of redirected aggression.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about that.
Yeah,
That's where they get riled up by something they see outside,
right.
like another cat strutting through their yard, but then they take it out on, well, anyone who happens to be nearby.
Exactly. And that's a key takeaway for understanding seemingly random aggression. They're not necessarily mad at you. They're just reacting to a trigger that's no longer present.
So it's like they're holding a grudge against an invisible enemy.
Not quite a grudge. It's more like a buildup of energy or frustration that needs an outlet. It's like that feeling you get when someone cuts you off in traffic and you just want to yell.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well.
Mm.
So how do we help them manage that pent-up aggression?
The key is to try and identify the source of their fear or territoriality and try to minimize those triggers.
Okay.
Like if your cat gets agitated by seeing other cats outside,
Yeah.
keeping the curtains drawn might help.
So in addition to creating that calm environment we talked about, we also need to be mindful of what they're seeing and experiencing outside of their little world.
Exactly. It's about thinking holistically about their environment.
And I imagine there are times when just minimizing those triggers isn't enough.
Right. In some cases, behavioral modification techniques like desensitization and counter-conditioning might be necessary.
Hold on. Can we just unpack those terms for a second?
Sure.
I've heard them before, but they always sound a little intimidating.
Think of desensitization, like slowly introducing your cat to the thing that scares them, but at a distance and intensity that doesn't trigger a fear response.
Okay.
For example, if your cat is terrified of the vacuum cleaner, you might start by just having it in the room, turned off, for short periods of time.
Okay, I see. And then gradually move it closer or turn it on for a few seconds, rewarding them for staying calm.
Exactly. And counter-conditioning is about associating that scary thing with something positive. So while the vacuum is in the room, you might give them their favorite treats or engage them in a fun play session.
So basically changing their emotional response from run for your life to treat time.
That's the goal.
Uh-huh.
But those techniques often work best with the guidance from a professional trainer or behaviorist.
Okay, good to know. I'll admit I'm already feeling a little bit more equipped to deal with some of my cat's more dramatic moments.
That's what this deep dive is all about.
Yeah,
Helping you understand your feline friend a little bit better.
it's really making me think differently about their behavior. Speaking of which, there's one more thing I wanted to ask you about. Excessive grooming. I actually do that too. When I'm stressed, I bite my nails. Is it the same kind of thing for cats?
It's very similar.
Okay.
The source points out that stress and anxiety can manifest physically in cats, and excessive grooming is a classic example. It's like their way of self-soothing.
Oh, so again, creating that calm, predictable environment is key.
Absolutely. But there are other things that you can do to help.
Yeah.
The research mentions using products that mimic feline pheromones to reduce anxiety.
Oh, yeah. Those pheromone sprays and diffusers that I've seen at the pet store, do those really work?
They can be quite effective for some cats. Basically, they release synthetic versions of pheromones that cats naturally produce to create a sense of calm and security. It's like sending them a message that everything is okay.
Interesting. I might have to give those a try. My cat does seem to get stressed pretty easily. And speaking of stress, that brings us to another topic that's on the minds of a lot of pet owners these days, anxiety. It seems like cats are just as susceptible to it as we are.
Absolutely. And this research provides a really insightful list of potential anxiety triggers for cats.
Yeah.
It's not just major life changes like moving to a new home or introducing a new pet.
Yeah, what else is on that list?
Everything from loud noises like fireworks or thunderstorms to changes in their routine, even something as simple as rearranging furniture can trigger anxiety in some cats.
Wow, I had no idea it could be so many things. I'm guessing it's not always easy to spot the signs, especially if your cat is more on the stoic side. What should we be looking for?
The source highlights some key signs of anxiety in cats. Things like hiding or trying to escape, excessive vocalization, changes in appetite, and yes, even over-grooming, which we just talked about.
So those subtle shifts in behavior can actually be big red flags.
Exactly. Recognizing those signs early is crucial for effective management. The sooner you address the underlying cause, the better the chances of helping your cat feel more secure and comfortable.
So how do we actually manage anxiety in cats? I know there are medications, but are there other things we can do at home?
Absolutely. The research suggests a few strategies that might be surprising to some listeners. One of the most intriguing is creating a safe space specifically for the cat.
A cat sanctuary within the house. I love it.
It's all about giving them a designated retreat where they can feel secure and de-stress. It could be a quiet corner with a cozy bed, a high shelf where they can observe from above, or even a cardboard box lined with soft blankets.
That makes so much sense. My cat actually loves hiding in boxes.
It's instinctual for them. In the wild, cats seek out enclosed spaces where they feel protected. Providing them with a similar haven in your home can go a long way in reducing their anxiety.
Okay, noted. I'm going to step up my box game. What else can we do?
Maintaining a consistent routine is crucial for anxious cats.
Oh,
We talked about this earlier, but it's worth reiterating. Predictability helps them feel more in control of their environment.
consistency is key. Got it. Any other tips?
The source also suggests engaging your cat in enrichment activities to alleviate boredom and provide mental stimulation.
So things like puzzle feeders, interactive toys, and even just dedicated playtime can make a big difference.
Exactly. Enrichment activities help tap into their natural instincts to hunt, explore, and play.
It's like giving them a job to do, a purpose beyond napping and looking regal.
Something like that. It keeps their minds engaged and
Yeah.
can help redirect their energy away from anxious behaviors.
This is all so helpful. I'm already feeling more confident about understanding and addressing my cat's anxiety.
That's great to hear. And remember, if you're struggling to manage your cat's anxiety on your own,
Mm.
don't hesitate to consult a veterinarian. They can offer additional guidance and support.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful so far. It feels like we've barely scratched the surface, though.
Right.
There's so much more to learn about these fascinating creatures.
Totally.
We're back and ready to continue our deep dive into this fascinating world of feline behavior. I don't know about you, but I'm already starting to see my cat in a whole new light.
It's pretty amazing how much we can learn from just, scratching the surface of cat behavior.
Yeah.
And it really highlights how important it is to move beyond those simplistic notions we have about cats. That whole aloof and independent stereotype.
Totally. It's like we've been speaking completely different languages this whole time, and we're finally starting to understand each other. At least I'm starting to understand her a little bit better.
Right. And that understanding is the foundation for building a stronger, more harmonious relationship with our feline companions.
Absolutely. Before we move on, I wanted to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the importance of understanding the underlying cause of a behavior problem. It seems like that's a recurring theme in all of this research.
It's absolutely crucial. Addressing the symptoms without addressing the root cause, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken bone.
Right?
It might provide temporary relief, but it
Uh,
won't solve the underlying problem.
Perfect analogy. So, how can we become better cat detectives, so to speak? How can we get to the bottom of what's really driving those, quirky behaviors?
Observation is key. Pay attention to your cat's body language, their routine, any changes in their environment. Really think about what might be triggering the behavior.
So, if my cat suddenly starts, peeing outside the litter box, I should think about what else has changed in their world recently.
Exactly. Did you move any furniture? Introduce a new pet?
Mhm.
Change their food? Even seemingly small things can be stressful for cats.
My cat actually started doing that when we got a new couch. I moved her scratching post right next to it, thinking that she would love it, but I guess she saw it as an invasion of her space.
It's very possible that she felt like her territory was being threatened. Cats are incredibly sensitive to changes in their environment, even something as seemingly insignificant as a new piece of furniture.
It's like they have their own internal feng shui map of the house and we just keep messing it up.
Something like that. But the point is, trying to see things from their perspective can really help us understand their behavior.
Right. And if we can't figure it out on our own, that's when we call in the professionals, right?
Absolutely. A veterinarian or a certified cat behaviorist can really help you get to the bottom of the issue and develop a tailored management plan. They have the expertise to really delve into those complex behavioral puzzles.
Okay. Good to know we have backup. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. Inappropriate elimination, aggression, excessive grooming, anxiety. It's clear that cats are such complex creatures with a whole lot going on beneath that cool, composed exterior.
They really are. But with a little bit of knowledge and understanding, we can create a much happier and healthier life for both them and ourselves.
I completely agree. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is that even though cats are often seen as independent, they're actually very sensitive to their environment and our actions. We have a bigger impact on their well-being than we realize.
That's such an important point. They rely on us to provide them with a safe, stable, and enriching environment. It's really our responsibility to be mindful of their needs and to do our best to understand their unique perspectives.
That makes me think about how we often project our own human emotions and motivations onto our pets.
Yeah.
We assume they think and feel the same way we do, but that's obviously not the case.
Right. It's a form of anthropomorphism, attributing human characteristics to non-human beings. And while it's natural to want to relate to our pets on an emotional level, it's important to remember that they experience the world so differently than we do.
So how can we bridge that gap? How can we start to see the world from their perspective?
It takes conscious effort, but it is possible. One way is to simply observe their behavior without judgment or interpretation. What are they doing? How are they interacting with their environment? What are their body language cues telling us?
So less, my cat is giving me the cold shoulder because I didn't fill her food bowl fast enough, and more like, my cat is sitting at the highest point in the room, tail twitching, ears perked. What might she be feeling or perceiving right now?
Exactly. It's about stepping back from our human-centric assumptions and really trying to understand the world through their senses. Remember, they experience the world through scent, sound, and touch in ways that we can only imagine.
I never thought about it like that. It's like we're living in completely different sensory universes.
In a way, we are.
Oh.
And appreciating those differences can really enhance our understanding of their behavior.
Okay. So we're observing, we're trying to see the world through their feline lens. What else can we do to create that enriching environment that they need?
Well, this research actually offers some really concrete tips. One is to create more vertical space for them to climb and explore.
Yeah.
Cats are natural climbers, and providing them with those opportunities to perch up high, it satisfies their instinctual need to survey their territory.
So cat trees, shelves, window perches, all those things that we see at the pet store, those actually serve a real purpose beyond just looking cute.
Absolutely. They're not just decorative, they're actually providing your cat with an essential element of their environment.
I'm definitely guilty of buying those things more for my own aesthetic enjoyment than for my cat's benefit.
Well, now you know that you're actually doing your cat a favor by indulging your interior design whims.
Good to know. What else does the research suggest?
Providing them with plenty of hiding spots is another important consideration. Cats are both predator and prey animals, so they have this natural instinct to seek out safe, secluded spaces where they can feel secure.
So, a cozy cat bed tucked away in a quiet corner, or maybe even just a cardboard box strategically placed under a table.
Exactly. It's about giving them options and allowing them to choose where they feel most comfortable and secure.
Makes sense. And I imagine we also need to be, more patient and understanding when they exhibit those behaviors that might seem puzzling at first.
Absolutely. Remember, they're not trying to be difficult.
Mhm.
They're just communicating their needs in the best way they know how. It's up to us to listen and respond in a way that makes them feel heard and understood.
It's like we need to learn their love language, which might involve a lot of head bunts, purring, and strategically placed hairballs.
You could say that.
So to all the cat owners out there, I encourage you to embrace the challenge of understanding your feline friends. It might not always be easy, but the rewards are definitely worth it.
It really is a journey of discovery and learning,
Yeah.
filled with endless fascination.
And probably a few more of those litter box surprises along the way, but hey, at least we'll be better equipped to handle them now.
Yeah.
And we are back for the final part of our deep dive into cat behavior. It's funny, we started talking about litter box woes, and now we're practically fluent in feline.
Well, maybe not fluent,
Right.
but I think we've gained some really valuable insights into how our feline companions experience the world.
For sure. I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is just that there's always more to learn
Yeah.
about these amazing creatures. They may seem mysterious, but their behavior is actually pretty logical when you start to understand, their needs and instincts.
Exactly. It's about shifting our perspective from what's wrong with my cat?
All right.
To what is my cat trying to tell me?
And sometimes that message might be a strategically placed hairball on your favorite pillow.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. But, even those seemingly annoying behaviors can often be traced back to an unmet need or an attempt to communicate something.
So the next time I find a gift on my pillow, I'll take a deep breath and channel my inner cat whisperer.
That's the spirit. Remember, patience and understanding are key when it comes to, living with cats.
And a good supply of lint rollers.
Definitely. But in all seriousness, the rewards of having a strong bond with your cat are immeasurable.
I couldn't agree more. They just bring so much joy and laughter and love into our lives.
It's really a unique and special kind of companionship.
It is. And this deep dive has inspired me to just be more mindful of my cat's needs. I want to make sure that I'm providing her with an environment that's not just comfortable, but, truly enriching for her.
That's great. And remember, even those small changes, they can make a big difference.
Like adding another litter box,
Right.
creating a designated safe space, and maybe resisting the urge to rearrange the furniture every week.
Exactly. Every step you take to better understand and meet your cat's needs will only strengthen the bond that you share.
So, to all the cat owners out there, I encourage you to keep observing, keep learning, and just keep loving those feline friends.
They might not always say it, but they appreciate your efforts more than you know.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll crack the code to those mysterious meows and finally understand what they're really thinking.
I wouldn't rule it out. There's always more to discover in this fascinating world of cats.
That's right. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into feline behavior. We hope you learned something new and that you'll continue to explore the amazing world of cats.